Welcome back to the Commercial Real Estate Show. I'm Michael Bull. Thanks for being with us. Today we're talking about design and construction. Please welcome my next guest. It's Jennifer Wilkerson. She's Director of Marketing and Public Relations for NCCER. And if you've never heard of that, maybe you're not in the construction business, but it's the National Center for Construction, Education, and Research. She's joining us on the phone. Jennifer, thanks for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Well, we appreciate it. How about labor shortage? That seems to be the area where the cost has really picked up, hasn't it?
It really has. I mean, we've heard predictions, from the construction labor market analyzer saying that 1.5 million new skilled craft professionals will be needed by 2019. And the reason this is affected is because the average age of your construction craft professional, when we're talking about an electrician, a welder, an HVAC technician, we're talking about they're between the ages of 48 and 50. So we're looking at in the next 5 years, on top of that being the average age, we're also looking at about a 20% retirement rate coming up in the construction industry. And so that affects these skilled craft professionals. We've had a period of time where we're not seeing as many young people go into these skilled professions. And because of that, we don't really have the pipeline of talent built for all these jobs and projects that are going on.
And what is your organization and what's the industry as a whole doing about that? Is there some initiatives to try to create more people in the labor force in construction?
Yes. And a lot of people, I can tell you, we go to meetings all the time, and this is one of the topics that are at the top of the list. So several things. Build Your Future is one of our initiatives. There's a lot of initiatives around the United States that are recruitment and image enhancement that are trying to get out there and talk to schools, whether it's high schools, middle schools, to let kids, young people, displaced workers, people that aren't, have maybe a degree that they're not being able to utilize, that construction offers great career opportunities. We have career progression that you can start out learning on your tools. You can earn as you learn, where there's programs, whether it's a two-year community college, a technical college, or it's an industry program, and people can earn some money, learn the skills that they need, the knowledge they need, and then progress up to, a journey-level craft professional and then a supervisor, foreman, supervisor. You get into these positions, and we see people that start in their tools that are later the CEO of a large commercial or industrial construction firm.
Right, and the income of these folks might be a little higher than some people think, right?
Absolutely. Each year, NCCER, we actually send out a salary survey to the firms that we work with and are in our network, and we have been so surprised over the past few years. We published these results on our website at what the salaries are. And I'll tell you, I go and speak to schools all the time and have students, teachers, parents that are totally surprised whenever we're talking about mobile crane operator, average salary without per diem or overtime, $65,000. When we're talking about power generation technician, $70,000. Welder combo, $70,000. And these, again, those are just average salaries without, the construction industry offers, typically it's not a 40-hour week, and the overtime that's available and the pay for people to travel and the benefits. I don't think people realize that construction offers all of that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, where are some good opportunities where there's a shortage, where somebody wanted to get into the industry or maybe move from one sector to the other, where there might be some higher pay and some more work?
Well, I think anybody that if they've already done a little bit in the industry, whether it's residential or maybe they, maybe you even took some classes in school and you thought, I really like. Even let's talk about radios and stuff. You like tinkering with radios. A lot of people don't understand electronic systems technicians and instrumentation techs. Those are, when we have all these facilities, we have to be able to maintain them. And we need people in those facilities that work in maintenance. And we have this very different idea of what maintenance is. For me, I'm thinking maintenance high tech. people that understand valve systems, people that understand pressure, people that are going in there and doing very specific technical work, and they are working on iPads and they are working on equipment in that sense. So I think those are areas for people to look at, and if they haven't had any interest or any introduction into construction, there's still jobs available. The training that's out there in the construction industry is absolutely available to all people, anyone that wants to give it a try and see what it's about.
Right. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of opportunities in that industry, and we need more people in the industry, as you said, in the construction and the commercial real estate world. We're certainly seeing a labor shortage, and it's impacting businesses everywhere. Well, we're going to take a short break, and stay tuned. We're going to have some tips for working with contractors. So stay with us. I'm Michael Bull. This is the Commercial Real Estate Show. We'll be right back. The Commercial Real Estate Show is brought to you by CCIM Institute, commercial real estate's global standard for professional achievement. Visit ccim.com/CRE show. That's ccim.com/CRE show. Welcome back to the Commercial Real Estate Show. I'm Michael Bull. We're talking about construction today on the Commercial Real Estate Show. My guest is Jennifer Wilkerson, as she is with NCCER. And Jennifer, you talked a little bit about some of the technology out there, and it seems like technology, there's an app for everything, right? That technology is really impacting most every industry. What do you see in yours?
Well, absolutely, and I mentioned this a little bit before. I think there's a misconception that construction, people have the idea that maybe what they see simply on the side of the road with someone digging a ditch or doing that's the extent of the technology, when really, I mean, even if we look at the equipment that's used now to, quote, dig ditches on the side of the road, you look inside of it, it almost looks like a video console. It looks like someone's playing a video game. We're talking about, crane operators and heavy equipment operators, along with, as I mentioned, doing maintenance and plants and stuff. But it has come a long way, and they are things that I think if people had the opportunity to see how technology is really weaved into the fabric of construction, they would be quite surprised.
Yeah, that's great. So then my son might be interested in construction then, if it's like a video game, right?
There you go, exactly.
Well, can you share some tips for choosing and working with contractors?
Sure. One of the things, that we always say that's important, so anytime anything's getting ready to be built, it's all about productivity, right? It's about, your time, your costs, the talent that's there. So it's really important when you're working with a contractor, as far as industrial perspective, is that you're looking at people that are hiring skilled professionals that do have credentials. Are you working with a contractor that is either doing training programs themselves, or are they making sure that the people they hire are at a competency level that's going to make the project be a safe one and be a productive one? Because we know that in order for there to be a safe project, there has to be trained people on that site. When there's inexperienced people that have not really been trained, both knowledge and performance-wise, then we're due to injuries, we're due to productivity going down, and we're doing, overruns. Then we're looking at costs and stuff. So I think the training and the certified professional skilled workforce is really probably the crucial things I would say with contractors. Okay.
And so if I'm hiring someone to build out my office space or do an addition to my building, what sort of things might I look for? Are there some accreditations? How could I make sure? I know with the labor shortage, I think some of these contractors are having trouble, even finding subs. So how might I get that assurance that there's going to be good people that know what they're doing on my job site?
So there's a couple things. One of the things, as NCCER is involved in the industry because we do develop industry-recognized training materials, books, and stuff that go along with credentialing. We have a very standardized process with that. We also have what's known as the Contractors Workforce Development Assessment, and this assessment allows contractors, subs, different sizes, it doesn't matter what size, to answer some questions that help owners evaluate how much of this particular contractor's workforce is certified? How much are they putting into training? And so it can give them a picture of the safety and the productivity. So again, like I said, asking for certifications, asking for credentials, looking at some of the tools like the contractor's workforce development assessment, and using that up front before hiring the contractors.
And is this assessment available to the public?
It is. There is a website, CWDA, so there is a contractor's workforce development assessment website. It's more for contractors and owners, so someone that's actually starting a project and they want to evaluate and get an analysis of some of the subcontractors and contractors they're wanting to hire. But anybody can go on the website and read all about it, see what it's about, even get a gist of what are the questions that are involved in this.
Right, and that way you'll kind of know what to ask and know what to look for, right?
Exactly, yes.
Are there any other trends in the construction industry that are interesting today?
I would just say, from our standpoint, because we deal with education also, is just the resurgence in career and technical education that in industrial and commercial construction I would think would be the same. We're real happy about that. We're seeing the trend that industry and education are starting to come back together, that schools are much more receptive to having industry representatives on their advisory councils, because they know, in a community college, even in a high school, if they're going to have students that are going to be successful and become skilled professionals, they need to have industry linkage. So they need to have someone that's going to hire these students and that's going to foster that learning above and beyond the walls of education. So I think one of the things I'm really excited about is just seeing that trend that career and technical education is coming back to our schools, and industry is stepping up and wanting to be involved in that process.
That's great. Well, Jennifer, thanks for joining us. If you'd like more information, visit nccer.org. Stay with us. We'll have more on design and construction. The Commercial Real Estate Show is brought to you by Bull Realty, commercial real estate asset and occupancy solutions. Visit bullrealty.com. CCIM Institute, commercial real estate's global standard for professional achievement. Visit ccim.com. Xceligent, providing verified commercial real estate information across the United States. Visit xceligent.com. Valuate, easily share what-if analysis online with colleagues. Visit getvaluate.com.